Hello and welcome to Dean Park. Today's video is all about the Class 20. I'll give you some background information on this BR loco, and then I'll move on to look at the brand new Bachmann Class 20 in all its glory. I'll even park it up to the previous generation model to see if it's moved the game on. If you'd like to see more videos from Dean Park, then click on the icon at the bottom right hand side of the screen. If you enjoy the video, you can support my channel by clicking the like and subscribe icons, as well as sharing your thoughts in the comments section below. In the meantime, sit back and relax as I bring you the English Electric Class 20. The British Rail Class 20, otherwise known as the English Electric Type 1, were built between 1957 and 1968. In total, 228 locomotives were built. The locomotives were originally numbered D8000 to D8199 and D8300 to D8327. These 73-ton locomotives produced 1,000 horsepower and could operate up to 75 miles an hour. The Class 20s were known by railway enthusiasts as choppers, a name derived from the distinctive beat that the engine produces when under load, which resembles the sound of a helicopter. The earlier locomotives were fitted with disc indicators in the style of the steam era. However, when headcode boxes were introduced in 1960, the locomotive design was changed to incorporate these features. Although older locomotives were not retrofitted with headcode boxes, a few of the earlier batch acquired these as a result of repairs. The Class 20 only had a single cab at the back of the loco, so in this respect the design really hadn't moved on from the steam era concept where the cab was always at the back of the locomotive. The driver only had a very small forward-facing window to look through. This caused problems with visibility when travelling nose first. To resolve these issues, it was common to find the Class 20 paired together at the nose, with their cabs at opposite ends, ensuring that the driver could quite clearly see the road ahead. Modellers with Class 20s in their layouts may need two to operate prototypically with longer freight trains. Later locos were delivered from the manufacturer with the new electronic control system for working merry-go-round coal trains. In fact, trains from Longannet Power Station in Scotland sometimes required locos to be triple-headed to pull the load. Most Class 20s have now been withdrawn from service, however some continue to operate for Harry-Needle Railroad Company, GBRF and Direct Rail services. However, in the case of DRS, these locos will be phased out in order to replace them with a cleaner, more efficient class of loco. 22 of this class have made it into preservation. With 65 years in service, the English Electric Type 1 has been a true success story from the original modernisation plan. The choppers have seen work far and wide on the network, making it an ideal model to add to your collection. The Class 20 has been in Bachmann's range for over 15 years and has been modelled both with disc head code and centre head code versions in a variety of BR colour schemes. However, with no lighting features on the original model, it was starting to look dated in today's market, where the modeller expects so much more for their money. In response to this, Bachmann announced the 20 Subclass 3 in late 2020, which filled an obvious gap in the model's working life, having not previously been tooled. To my delight, in spring of 2021, Bachmann announced that the Class 20 Subclass 0 would also get a retool to the same modern standards as the /3 subclass. This was very welcome, as the market had been crying out for a new version of this iconic BR workhorse. Bachmann's new 00 gauge model has been created fresh from the rails up. Nothing you see has been carried over from the previous version. As you'd expect, there are sprung metal buffers at all four corners, together with NEM coupler pockets which support small tension lock couplings. An optional pack of accessories includes a full set of buffer beam pipes which will fit straight into the holes as supplied without any modification. This is a step forward, as fitting pipework can be a right pain if the holes are too small or the painted pipes are too big. Fitting pipework should only be done once the NEM coupler is removed, or the pipework risks fouling the coupler when working on the layout. In the case of the Class 20s, as I stated earlier, they usually worked in pairs, so if you're going to run them in this formation, one of your Class 20s should not be fitted with detailing on the buffer beam at each end to allow the coupler to work with the train and the other loco. Looking at the model in isolation, you can see the care and attention that's gone into designing this new Class 20. You've a beautifully designed and moulded body which sits on a secure, heavy chassis. The loco looks stunning in the attractive rail freight grey livery with red sole bar and buffer beams, and a Haymarket depot emblem finishes off the look perfectly. The cab interior has been redesigned and now boasts more detail as well as a cab light. However, as is now the norm with newly tooled Bachmann models, we don't have a driver present in the cab. This will please and displease modelers across the hobby in equal measure. However, the likes of Model U do excellent 3D printed drivers that can be painted and fitted into the cab if you desire. As you can see, this model is fitted with domino head code boxes. These are lit in the direction of travel, along with a high visibility headlight that can be controlled separately using separate functions on the decoder. As this model is factory fitted with sound, this is already programmed into my decoder. The cab end of the loco is bristling with detail, including separately fitted pipework, grab rails and windscreen wipers. There is a small panel of detail that's been printed and not tooled. However, given the variations that have taken place on the actual locos throughout their working lives, I suppose it's really impossible for every small detail to be catered for in the tooling. The nose end also has a wealth of detail, with all new brackets and buffer beam. It too features domino head codes and tail lights. The new model really captures the face of the loco with the subtle sloping nose. Bachmann really have done a fine job here. The roof has some fine separately fitted and moulded details, as well as an all new radiator grille and fan. This fan isn't powered, as you'll soon get on the new Bachmann Class 47s. However, I'm yet to be convinced we really need such details on models of this scale. Looking at both the newly tooled and original tooling side by side, you'll find that the old one doesn't suddenly look obsolete or substandard in comparison. This is testament to Bachmann's original tooling, as most of the features present on the body of the new one are also present on the previous one too. Both cab ends really capture the shape and the look of the Class 20, however the one on the right, being the new tooling, really has stepped up the game with regard to buffer beam detail. Where Bachmann has moved the game on is in relation to the bogies and the new internal electrical suite. The bogies, although not really studied as the loco moves around the layout, are exquisite. They have a fantastic depth to them and really replicate the bogies on the actual locos. The model includes weight-saving holes drilled on the bogies, as well as separately fitted pipework. Inside has seen the biggest leap forward. As I said, lighting is now fully controllable. Bachmann are also moving onto the Plux 22 decoders, leaving the 21 pins behind. It's interesting that they are doing this while Hornby are still sticking with the 8-pin interface. Maybe we'll see Hornby leapfrog the 21 pin and move straight to the Plux 22 sometimes in the future. Here's hoping anyway. The sound file used on this loco is great. With well over 20 functions, it's difficult to remember what they all are. In reality, we'll only ever use a handful of these functions, but it's nice to have more at your disposal to further elevate the realism while running these lovely locos. The speaker is a standard 15 by 11mm cube speaker, which is fine, but you can upgrade this to something with a bit more presence if you wish. The loco gets power to its wheels via twin flywheels, giving all-wheel drive and pickup. It runs smoothly and quietly, straight from the box. Now onto the price. At an RRP of $179.95 for the standard model and $279.95 for the sound-fitted model, it's not what you can class as cheap. However, in reality, these prices translate into $139.95 and $237.95 at some retailers, which is closer to the norm these days. You do get a lot of detail for this money, but for many of you this will still be too expensive, and I get that. I certainly won't be adding a whole fleet of them at that price, but I'll be adding maybe another one. Bachmann do a BR Blue one, which is on the way, but this is a Tinsley Depot based machine from the late 1970s, so I won't be getting that. Bachmann have indicated future releases will cover Class 20s from the Scottish region in BR Blue. I'll be holding off to see if these come to fruition. Sadly, the days where I can afford to buy locos for the sake of it, regardless of region or era, are long gone. With the price increases we are continuing to see in every area of life, I think we are all becoming a bit more selective with the stuff we buy. So to conclude, am I impressed with the new Bachmann offering? I certainly am. In fact, since it arrived on the layout in early September, it's been racking up the model miles on Dean Park. If you ask me if I should shortlist one or just go ahead and buy it, I'd tell you to get your wallet out and treat yourself. This has to be a contender for my model of the year. So what do you think of the new Bachmann Class 20? Get in touch, share your views by posting in the comment section below.